All right, now the next step in our series here in putting together these web pages is going to involve actually beginning to design the web pages and give them some content. And I think in an earlier movie I might have even mentioned that we might use two programs to do this, Fireworks and Dreamweaver, but I think I have changed my mind about that, and I think we'll just keep it simple and we'll just stay right here in Dreamweaver. Now, what you're looking at right now is my index page, and I've kind of laid out, and I know that this is not anything fancy. All right, you will see web pages that are much more fancy and attractive, and they got all the bells and whistles, but we're just going to kind of keep it simple. And I've just made a little layout here that has kind of a main title up here at the top, a little subtitle right here, a little bit of a content over here to explain what it's all about, and then over here we've got links to all the other pages. All right, so that's what we're going to kind of work on in this session, is laying out this index page and just kind of working with the options that you have about colors and how it all looks when you put it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just get out of Dreamweaver. Let me get this out of the way too, and let me get this out of the way too. All right, there we go. Now, remember, I have a Dreamweaver shortcut here in this folder on my desktop. I don't know if you made a shortcut or not, but you can start Dreamweaver however you need to. Now, if you have followed along so far in the previous sessions, if you made the plan and you defined the site in Dreamweaver and you worked on creating the pages in Dreamweaver that we're going to use, the next time you start up Dreamweaver, if you look over here on the bottom right hand side, all of the pages and the website that you defined in the previous sessions still ought to be here. You can see mine right here. The My Website shows up right here, and all of the pages that I made in the previous session are listed underneath there. All right, so I'm really kind of ready to go to work here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to find, here's that index page that I made before. That's the one we're going to work on this session. And I'm just going to double click that page. And it will open it up. And remember, it's right now, it's nothing but an empty page. All right. Well, let's go to work on putting some things on this page and looking at options that you have. And just to help arrange the page a little bit, I'm going to create what's called a table. And here's how you can do that. And a lot of web designers don't do this anymore, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this way for right now. I'll go to the Insert menu, and I'm going to go to Table, right here. Insert Table. I'll get a dialog box that pops up here, and I have some options about the number of rows and the number of columns and how wide it is and those kinds of things. Well, let me show you what I would like for you to do. Here are my suggestions. 3 rows is good. I'm going to change this to 2 columns. And for the width of the table, I'm going to switch this to %, and I'm going to do it at about 85% of the width of this document. All right? So 3 rows, 2 columns, 85%, not pixels, but %. And for right now, I'll leave the border thickness at 1. I'm probably going to change that later, but I'll leave it for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and there it is. All right, it has some cells in there, some rows, some columns, some cells where we can put things. Now, while that table is selected right now, so I'm going to come down here to this Properties panel that's at the bottom of the screen where it says Align Default, and I'm going to say Align Center. I would like to have that table centered right in the middle of the screen, so I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Now, here's the next step that I'm going to do as I work on putting this table together and making it look the way I want. I'm going to click in the first cell and drag over to the second cell of the first row. You see how I did that? I just dragged across the top row, click in the first cell, drag to the right to the second cell, and I want to merge those cells together. All right, well, there's a lot of ways you can do it. What I'm going to do is come down here to the Properties panel, and I'm going to find there's this little button on the Properties panel that shows these 2 rows, these 2 cells coming together. It's down the bottom left-hand side, and I'm just going to click that button. And what I did, instead of having 2 boxes there, now I have 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the second row. I'm going to click here, drag across, so those are both selected like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing, come down here to this merge selected cells, and I'll do that. Again, I'm setting this up so that I can have a title and a subtitle in those rows right there. All right, well now we can go to work on putting some content in here. And in this top box, this top row, I just want to kind of put a name for the website. And it could be whatever you want to call it. It could be my dazzling artwork, whatever you want to call it is fine. You come up with a name for it. And I'm just going to keep it very simple here and say Mr. Arvin's website. Should spell that correctly. All right, good, lovely. I'll come down to the second row, and I just want to kind of give it a subtitle here, and I'm just going to say site design and all pages by Mr. Arvin. All right, or maybe I'll just say by Mr. A. Okay, so it's kind of like just a subtitle for, and I'm going to go with that whole non-capital letter thing. I know it's not grammatically correct, but I'm going to use small letters on that just because I want to. All right, now in this box right here, and I'm going to keep, and I'm going to actually slide this divider over to the right a little bit. You can grab that divider and kind of move it around, slide it where you want. And I'm going to move it over that little middle divider between these two boxes. I'm going to move it to the right some. And in this box, I'm going to go ahead and just type in a little bit of information that I want to show my audience here. And I'm just going to say something like, in digital tools, oops, accidentally hit enter there, tools, we design all kinds of things to communicate using programs, try to spell that right, programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, Flash, Audacity, and Dreamweaver. Use the links at the left to check out my creations. All right. Now I don't have any links over there yet, but I'm going to put them in. In fact, I could go ahead and do that now. I could come over here on this box that's, and I said links on the left. That should actually be links on the right. There we go. And I should click in here on the box on the right. And now this is where, these are just, I want them to be little 1 or 2 word things that will wind up being links to my other pages. So I could even call this, if I want to, one of them is my Iron Man poster. That was one of the things that I picked. And remember, I'm working from my plan that I had kind of mapped out here before, the poster and the solar system, the Magellan movie, all that stuff that I've planned out. All right, so I want my Iron Man poster, and I'm going to go ahead and press enter right there. I want my solar system. I'll press enter right there. Now you notice it kind of leaves a lot of space there. Don't worry about that. That's okay. I've got my Magellan movie. All right, I've got my event movie. And I want my podcast. All right, so I've made my list. Those are my 5 things right there. All right, so we're kind of getting the basic layout all figured out here. We're getting things, kind of where we want them and that kind of thing. And I might hit my right or my left arrow here and press enter once just to drop that table down on the page, just a smidge.